you also need to invest your time to educate one another, because if you cannot create a bond, if you cannot learn to carry one another, if you cannot spend enough time to understand one another, then how can the love will grow?
Farid Ahmed's words of forgiveness were heard around the world following a terror attack in Christchurch, New Zealand.
I want a heart that will be full of love and will forgive lavishly.
His words and stories offer both healing and hope for the future.
If our heart is full of love, then peace will start from here.
Episode 50, Understanding One Another.
Before I was married, I was a free bird. It doesn't mean that I was free to do everything. I mean, I did have less responsibility. Once I got married, I had to think about myself and I had to think about another person. So my happiness was not enough unless she was also happy.
Yes.
So it was a big change. And to make it meaningful and continuous, I had to, or I needed to adjust my life. So here I want to make a point that, a lot of people I find that they get married, but they do not make any plan about adjusting their lifestyle. And because of that, they suffer.
There's that notion that marriage is sacrifice.
Yes.
But sacrifice doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Yes. Yeah. So we can call it a good investment.
That's good.
Yeah, good investment, positive investment. So, and I have seen many couple, they think that we'll be happy in marriage and we'll be in our ways. And it doesn't happen. So I used to work before my marriage. I used to work 2-3 shifts here and there, wherever I had opportunity to make some money, go for it. And at night, I used to help a restaurant. I was a chef at the time for 6 months. I needed money. So I learned, Indian cooking. So I was a very good cook. I'm a quick learner anyway. Imagine I studied engineering and I helped in the kitchen cooking.
No different. Salt, pepper, whatever.
Cooking for hundreds of customers. Yeah. And in a restaurant kitchen is funny. In a whole day you are preparing. It takes about 6-7 hours to prepare for 200 guests. It could be 200, could be more, sometimes could be less, but you have to be ready. I remember one night we were trying to close. It was about 10:30. It was not the weekend. It was weeknight. And then as we were, putting everything in place to go home, there was a knock on the door. Who are they? They said, we are the member of UB40 from UK. Yeah. Yeah, what can we do? Oh, we have a concert tomorrow in Nelson. So we have come and we are missing Indian food. Back home in England, lots of Indian foods. So, we are hungry and we want to eat. Now, the owner, he said, I love to get some money, but how can I ask my chef? He needs to go because tomorrow early morning, he has something else to do. So they came and they said, can we talk to him? So they came to the kitchen, 4 of them, that some more are coming, but we need some food. I said, I have to prepare everything for you right from the beginning. They said, please. So the owner's wife, she was also very good at cooking. I looked at her. She said, Uncle, if you say, I will help. I said, okay, you guys don't mind if you have to wait for an hour. No, we don't mind. As long as you cook something for us. He said, okay, we'll do that. So it was fun, and then they were so happy, and they complimented, and they gave 10 free tickets. 10 free tickets. And that was the first time in my life I went to a concert for a few minutes, and then, Husna and I went, and then we came out. Why? Because every time the drum was hitting, poof, we felt like our heart was coming out with scare. Boom, boom, boom. No, two of us, we just came out. We said, no, maybe our heart is too weak. Yeah. Anyway, so what I was saying, the adjustment. Before marriage, I could work long, but after marriage, I decided no. I had to make my work suitable to my marriage. So any work at night, I gave up.
All of the concerts.
Yeah, of course, that was once in my life, but I feel that I had a chance to experience something here. But when people are used to, they love it. I saw people are so much, like they are nodding their heads, with the music, and to us, we were probably different species in that crowd. We were different species. Yeah. So I adjusted my life. That was very important for me, and I was, very careful about her well-being. Uh, so I made sure that I could give her as much time as possible, because here there is no relatives, no family members. So she was suddenly homesick. So I wanted to spend more time for her. In daytime, some of the work allowed me to take her with me. So I took her, not for work, just to be watching what I do, so she could learn, she could see, and also to teach her English. So I asked her to listen what I say to other people, what other people say to me, and then in between, giving her new words, I gave her a small dictionary to carry it all the time, English to Bengali or Bengali to English. So I adjusted my work. I gave up a lot of work, income. Sometimes if we think that income is very, very important in marriage, I would say no. You need income, but you also need to invest your time to educate one another, Because if you cannot create a bond, if you cannot learn to carry one another, if you cannot spend enough time to understand one another, then how can the love will grow? Love is like water. It can drop unless and until you become the right container to hold it. A right container to hold it. It had come, it may drop. Yeah. So again, from this, from this episode, the lesson I have learned, and I want to pass it to others, that before marriage, you may have a lifestyle, but after marriage, consider seriously how can you adjust your lifestyle to accommodate your marriage, to accommodate some more time and energy for one another. That will be a huge investment. Once your bonding and understanding is better, you will find many other ways to make money together. And